Welcome to Career Bits, the podcast of the University Career Center at UNC Charlotte. I'm Jay, and I'm very happy to be joined on Career Bits again by AJ Simmons, Assistant Director for Career Development in the University Career Center. AJ, thanks for coming back on Career Bits.
Yes, as always, thanks for having me, Jay. It is a pleasure to be here.
Well, we have you here, AJ, because you are the leading driving force behind our Inclusivity Week, which is happening right now as this episode comes out here at the end of October. And I want to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and talk to folks that are listening to this about the week and the events that are happening and sort of how we got to this point. So this used to be a single night event that we would hold before career fairs, but it has evolved into something much bigger. So I wanted you to kind of walk us through what that was like and then how you and your team decided to go with the three events that you put together this week.
Yes, excellent. So first, the Inclusivity Mixer has been a staple event out of our office for connecting employers and students who represent and value identities that reflect a variety of backgrounds. And this has been, as you said, typically in advance of many of our career fairs to get people kind of ready for that. But this year we have taken a departure from that traditional method and have sought to expand to an Inclusivity Week. This Inclusivity Week will actually feature 3 Inclusivity Mixers, which are aimed at targeting very specific identities and connecting our employers and professionals with students and alumni via the Hop-In platform. The rationale behind that is, as a career center, we really want to be responsive to, what's going on in the world and what people are dealing with. And the previous format of just kind of bringing everyone together in one large group obviously was a little untenable with the current situation. And so we figured that if we were going to move into a virtual setting, that we wanted to be very intentional about how we're connecting our students with other folks. And of course, the theme for this Inclusivity Week will be around liberation, inclusion, and equity. And so we wanted to be very intentional and considerate of those 3 items when we put this event series together in terms of highlighting, for instance, our first Inclusivity Mixer being a Black and immigrant panel as the main kind of feature. The second one on October 29th, representing our religious minorities and women on that panel in that mixer. And then on October 30th, our LGBTQ plus and people with disabilities mixer. So of course, these are not events that are limited only to these folks, but we did want to be very intentional about highlighting those identities and creating a safe space for everyone to network with one another.
And it's not only students that identify in those populations that are encouraged to attend, right, but also allies of those groups.
Certainly, yes. We welcome all. I think that everyone should have a value and should have some sort of, reverence. That's the word that we place on folks from all sorts of identities. So in my mind, everyone should be an ally, and therefore everyone is welcome to attend these events. Though the major panel, which is the first sort of portion of each mixer, will feature panelists who are representing one or more of those identities.
Yeah, and that's great to showcase. And I think it's great that our employer partners are willing to share the resources that they are putting into the workplace around those identities as well. What are some of the things that folks who are attending can expect, and some of the things you've heard from the employer partners who are excited about participating in this, what they want to share?
Yeah, we have some excellent employer partners. I'd be here all day naming all of them, but we have some really great folks that we're going to partner with, and they're really excited about connecting with students who do represent these various identities. Many of them have been involved with us in the past, and they work on diversity and inclusion initiatives. Many of them, outside of this event series, lead talks and workshops about navigating the workplace, regardless of whatever your identity may be. And then also being specific about certain topics. Some of them talk about specifically, navigating your professional development as somebody who has a disability. for instance. And so these folks who will be attending these inclusivity mixers will bring a variety of experiences and backgrounds, and they're really just eager to connect with people and diversify their workplace. They're looking for quality students and alumni who can bring that diversity, which will in turn help to bring a little bit more of that liberation and equity aspect to their own workplaces. So I definitely see our Inclusivity Week as a mutually beneficial endeavor for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I think that's great that you mentioned that the first step in this process is recognizing the need to have that more diverse set of folks at the table. But the second part of that, and we've talked about this on previous episodes, is valuing the point of view that those identities bring that are different from maybe the majority at your organization or whatever. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that, at least from your perspective as a career coach, working with students who are going into situations where they're going to be asked to educate a lot of their coworkers on things that they don't have experiences with yet, how they can handle that, what's the best way to sort of work through that and build those mutually beneficial relationships.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it starts with, being what I like to say, solid in yourself. So having a very firm understanding of who you are, what your identity is, what values that you hold near and dear, and being authentic, and as they say, showing up when you're in the workplace, so that you're able to be comfortable as you are yourself and as you represent yourself. And for those conversations that you asked about, where maybe you're in a setting where you might be a quote unquote minority, I'm not here to say that that's not a taxing situation for folks to be in. But I think that through interacting with our Career Center and interacting with events specifically like this, we're helping to provide some of those tools that you can use, as you are in these workplace settings, and educating folks on things that they may not have encountered before. And again, having a solid sort of sense of yourself, so that you don't lose yourself in these questions, and so that you don't lose the genuineness that you bring to your role.
And I think it's great the way that you phrase that, about the first step is really starting with who you are and knowing where you come from and how to tell your story. And that's just good career coaching anyway, no matter who you are, but it also extends to the relationships you have in the workplace. So even beyond the skills and the duties and the experiences you have, it's here's why I look at things the way that I do. Let me share that with you so you can understand where I'm coming from, and we can have a better tie with each other. And this kind of leads me to my next piece is, beyond Inclusivity Week, what are some of the other things the Career Center is doing to demonstrate that not only are we involved in the education of this type of material and working with our employers on it, but that we're the kind of office that we are an office for everyone. And, you should know that when you come and see us. Yeah.
One thing that I can say, that we're doing internally is really just looking at, some of the policies and the practices that we have, and making sure that they're as equitable as they can be, making sure that, the employers that we're working with are participating in equitable practices, and making their opportunities available for everyone. So that's kind of one major way in which the Career Center is putting a highlight on diversity and inclusion. And then just, I think, on a more or less structured level, around the Career Center, I can say that, many of our colleagues, as are engaged in conversations around these topics, around topics of identity, around topics of oppression, around topics of liberation. And so I think that, our office is certainly moving in the right direction in terms of making sure that we're playing our role in creating these equitable spaces. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't plug just a couple things here that we're also doing in addition to that. So in addition to the 3 inclusivity mixers, which again will be Monday, October 26th, Thursday, October 29th, and Friday, October 30th, we also have a few other events. There's a Black Professional Volume 2 event that will feature a variety of professionals in a panel setting, talking about a variety of topics that many of our Black students and alumni may encounter as they move into the workplace. We also have various meetups. There is an LGBTQ plus and allied job search 101 meetup that will be on Wednesday, October 28th at 11 a.m. And let me back up. The Black Professional Volume 2 will be Tuesday, October 27th at noon. We also have another career meetup for disclosure with Disability In actually coming, which is one of our great partners with Inclusivity Week. And that will be on October 29th as well at noon. So we have a full week of events coming up this week here, October 26th through October 30th. Anybody interested could certainly visit our career.uncc career.uncc.edu page and find out about those events by clicking on the events section. You can also visit hireaniner.uncc.edu/events with an S on the end /, and then you would be able to find a list of those events as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching the video version of this, you'll see those on the little ticker at the bottom of our conversation here. Otherwise, I hope you wrote them down, but they're also in the description of the podcast, wherever you caught it on your podcatcher. So, AJ, thanks so much for coming on, talking about these Inclusivity Week events, and just talking about the focus that the Career Center is placing on this. This is a conversation that is happening really around our country and around the world, honestly, but particularly in our country in America. We're having some very real, productive conversations about diversity and equity and inclusion now. And I think what I'm seeing from my point of view of working with employers who are recruiting, that we're seeing some very honest approaches to here's where we need to fill the gaps. Here's what we're going to do. And we're not going to make you do all the work either, diverse candidate. We're here to do it with you and to support you through that. And I think it's just great that we're highlighting companies and organizations that are really putting their money where their mouth is and putting resources behind those initiatives. And the Career Center is also doing that.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal thing. What a time to be alive, right? I just hope that we're able to continue to push this forward and encourage everyone else to join us as we highlight our different folks from all backgrounds and uplift them and bring them closer to, the equitable circumstances that we all want for ourselves.
Certainly so. Thank you so much again, AJ, for being on Career Bits. Again, folks, you can follow the happenings of the Career Center at career.uncc.edu. Follow the Career Center on social media at Niner Careers. Participate in these events. Come and engage with us. Engage with our employers. We are here to help you. So for AJ, I'm Jay. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon.